Hello everyone, I'm Brazen Eagle and thank you for joining me here. As the title of this video states, when you help a woman out, you might just end up going to jail. So, from the dailymail.co.uk, a Good Samaritan spends 2 weeks in a maximum security prison after a woman whose car he helped fix falsely accused him of indecent assault. Ken Basic stopped to help a 19-year-old woman with her car at a service station. The woman had a broken down car, and Mr. Basic spent 2 hours helping her fix it. Wow, 2 hours. They hugged, and he followed her a short distance to make sure she was alright. Days later, the woman claimed Mr. Basic stalked her and indecently assaulted her. Wow. Mr. Basic spent 2 weeks in prison, lost his job, and is going through divorce. But all charges were dropped against him after the woman admitted to lying. Wow. And of course, this was published on May 6, 2019. A Good Samaritan claims his life is in tatters after a woman who he helped falsely accuse him of sexual assault. Ken Basic spent 2 weeks in a maximum security prison, lost his job, and is now going through divorce after a 19-year-old woman made false accusations against him. Mr. Basic stopped to help the teenager in November last year after she crashed her car, and of course she did, and pulled into a BP in Bankstown in Sydney's southwest. So this is obviously in Australia. This 36-year-old married father of one spent almost 2 hours helping the woman get her car back on the road. CCTV captured the entire interaction and shows the pair chatting happily and even embracing before she drives away, 9 News reported. Wow, this is even on footage, and she still lied. And according to Mr. Basic, I always help people you know all my life, and this is the first time the snake bit me. He then followed the teen a short distance with his car to make sure she didn't break down again. However, after they drove off, the woman told police Mr. Basic indecently assaulted and stalked her. Wow. The teenager claimed Mr. Basic had allegedly propositioned her for sex in return for his help before following her and once again propositioning her. Days after his act of kindness, Mr. Basic was facing serious sexual charges and spent 2 weeks behind bars in Silverwater Prison. He also lost his job and is now going through a divorce because of the false charges. And because of the false charges, we now know his name, we don't know the woman's name, and his picture right here will be plastered on the internet. Gotta love a gynocentric society. No one would ever expect that as a Good Samaritan, you must stop to assist a broken down motorist, that then you would subsequently be charged with these serious offenses, Mr. Basic's lawyer Mona El Baba told 7 News. On Monday, all charges against Mr. Basic were dropped after the woman broke down when pressed by detectives in an interview and finally told the truth that she'd been lying about the accusations. Ooh, Australian women, but women in general. I feel happy because I got my freedom, Mr. Basic said. The teenager is now facing a charge of knowingly making false or misleading statements and will appear in court next week. Mr. Basic said the incident has deterred him from stopping and helping a young woman ever again. Well, Mr. Basic, make sure that is a ever helping women again. Wow. All just because he helped her with her car. This guy, Mr. Basic, he's basic. He's just your average guy trying to help someone out, thinking, why not help this person out? Maybe I can do a good deed for the day. There was nothing really special about this guy. I mean, he's 36. He's a father of one. Now he's getting divorced because of this. But he foolishly decided to help a woman. Now, I don't know if he's been paying attention to the news, global news, but ever since the beginning of Me Too, and just, helping out women in general, they will falsely accuse you of anything if they can get a benefit out of it. And at least in this case, though, the female is going to be facing a charge of a false statement. Now, unfortunately, we don't know her name, and we can't plaster her name or face across the internet to make sure that she doesn't do this again, or to teach other women not to do this as well. But you just can't trust women these days, and of course men, you can't trust all men as well, but especially women. My God, you can't trust any of them. Maybe, except for your family members, maybe. Maybe your family's okay, but even then, I don't know about that. This is why you don't help women. It doesn't matter how women look, how women talk, or how they interact with you. The most damning thing is the things that can happen after you interact with them and they falsely bring up things against you. they can always change the situation to benefit themselves at the expense of you. They don't care about you. Women don't. They just see men as a disposable utility. They will throw you under the bus, or in this case the car, even if you don't do anything bad, and help them. This, of course, like I said earlier, with the combined ideology and beliefs behind the Me Too movement, has helped shatter any and all trust between a man and a woman. And of course, like Mr. Basic said, this incident has deterred him from stopping and helping a young woman ever again. And you know what? Like I said, don't make it just young women. Make it all women. Maybe except for your family members. Because women all are, at the end of the day, they all have the same basic nature. You just don't know if they will accuse you of something that didn't happen. This is why I personally avoid all females, except for, of course, my family members. But luckily, we literally have footage and a camera watching him and her interact. And there were also detectives revealing the truth after this happened. Unfortunately, after the guy lost his job, was put in jail, and is going through a divorce now, even though he's a father of one. He's probably going to lose custody of his child. But unfortunately, for other men that have been in situations like this, there was no evidence that wrongly put them in jail. There's nothing to help make sure that they got out of jail for doing, nothing wrong. You just can't trust women in today's world. Or her words. Or even in the ancient world. You probably couldn't even trust them anyways. And then, this woman, she will definitely come back and say someday, like all the women today say, where are all the good men? These women, pretty much all women, literally drove the men away from them. But, with that in mind, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm, of course, Brazen Eagle. This is another example of why you just can't trust women. And I hope you have a great day.